This could be better than we expected, as Xavier Tillman got his first real minutes with the Boston Celtics in their victory versus the Dallas Mavericks, and he checked all of the boxes, being an effective defender, scorer, and passer for this squad, and I truly think he can mold into the new Al Horford for this team, and Brad Stevens got a steal of an acquisition at the trade deadline. We're going to be breaking how impactful Xavier Tillman can be for this squad, and how I truly think he could earn himself as a playoff rotation piece. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and let's dive into all of this news at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack, as it is going to be a jam-packed episode. But before we dive in on all that Xavier Tillman news, I want to give some quick shout-outs to some ex-Celtics and some Celtics that have been killing it, and one unfortunate news as well. Last night, if you guys did not know, the Blazers and Grizzlies played against each other, and those are the two former players that acquired guys from the Boston Celtics at the trade deadline. Lamar Stevens went to Memphis, Dalano Banton to Portland, and they got their first real matchup, and even though they didn't look great for the Celtics, they're looking great for their new teams. Dalano Banton and Lamar Stevens both scored 19 points, with Lamar Stevens shooting 7 for 12 from the field, with Dalano Banton shooting 8 for 15, with finishing with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Portland won versus Memphis, getting a 30-point victory, 122-92, and Banton earned himself a post-game interview following the game. Honestly, I think that is great news for both of those guys, as they were part of that stay-ready crew for Boston. It never really truly got to show their shot, but if they can earn another contract to keep their longevity in the NBA, that's all I want to see. I want to give them some congrats for that. I also want to dive in giving a quick shout out to Jrue Holiday, because he's been excelling since the All-Star break. He's averaging 11 points per game, almost 6 assists, and 3 total rebounds, with almost 1.5 blocks and almost 2 steals, shooting 62% from the field and 62% from 3, with 75% true shooting splits and a plus 54 on the plus minus, absolutely killing all the margins. And as you guys could see in that last game versus the Dallas Mavericks, he came out on fire, hitting that fadeaway 3 right away in the corner, and then hitting another one on the next possession. He's truly finding himself in this offense, and I really think that is going to be a key contributor for the Celtics excelling in the playoffs. And lastly, some sad news. This is another tweet from Noah Dazel, diving in how Neemias Queta was pushing for a triple-double last night and is going to be out with a hyperextended knee. Luckily, though, hopefully it's not going to be that big of an injury for Neemias Queta, and we could possibly see him back in the court for the Maine Celtics or the Boston Celtics. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on those quick shoutouts in the comment section down below, tying into some old Celtics, Jrue Holiday success, and the unfortunate news about Neemias Queta. Without further ado, let's dive into the main topic at hand today, which is discussing how Xavier Tillman is the next Al Horford for the Boston Celtics. Now, if you guys are new here and this is your first video, and you haven't heard this spiel already, I've been preaching ever since the Boston Celtics have acquired Xavier Tillman that he truly can be this next Al Horford-esque type big, with Al Horford getting a little bit older and, having to rest on back-to-backs, as most Celtics fans know. I think they have similar frame types, as Al Horford, is a, generational 4-5. You can play both of them, be switchable. And I think truly Xavier Tillman at his peak potential could be that as well for the Boston Celtics. And if you guys do not know, Xavier Tillman excelled at his three-point shot and scoring at the rim his freshman year and rookie year in the NBA. But ever since then, he hasn't been able to find that offensive groove. I think him playing with Al Horford, learning that type of scheme, but also learning from Kristaps Porzingis, another talented big, will be able to help him compared to learning from some offensive guys in Memphis like Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson, who are not that great on the offensive side of the ball. In my personal opinion, after seeing these minutes and after seeing him play over Luke Kornet in that second half, it seems to me that he can definitely be a person that we could use with Luke Kornet as well, depending on the matchups and versatility. If we want to go a little bit smaller, we can use Tillman. If we want to go a little bit bigger, we can use Luke Kornet, and also helps us out with the defensive matchups as well. But let's dive in and look at some more quotes as well, exploring how Xavier Tillman has been working with this team and how he's kind of brewing this great relationship with Al Horford. If we want to dive in, this is the first tweet from Noah Dalzel, who does a fantastic job of covering the Boston Celtics, saying that, asking Jaylen Brown about Xavier Tillman, and he said that X looked good out there and that he fits right in. Xavier Tillman feels the same way fitting in with this Boston Celtics squad, saying that he loves that he could be able to play with this team. Now, Xavier Tillman also did not expect that he was going to be getting any minutes, as we see from this tweet from the Celtics CLNS, where Real Bob Manning asked Xavier Tillman about his minutes tonight and if he was expecting Joe Mazzulla to play him. And he said, "I definitely didn't know, and I had no clue, and that it went pretty well," which I totally agree. We're going to be diving in at Xavier Tillman's stats in a little bit, exploring how well he did play for this Celtics team. But hearing that come out of Xavier Tillman, a guy who wanted to be part of this stay-ready crew, makes me even feel more locked in about him, because he's already buying into being a stay-ready guy. And when his number was called, he was locked in and did tremendous things for this team. Want to keep diving in as well. We can see from Noah Dalzell saying how Xavier Tillman can see flashes of Al Horford, saying that Tillman knows that he's looking to follow in Al Horford's footsteps. You kind of just give me the blueprint of what you want from me and I'll get it done. And that is the key part that I want to hype on, because not just myself sees it, this kind of mold happening, but other people around the NBA and even Xavier Tillman himself wants to follow in that mold. And especially with Al Horford, being such a great stretch 4/5, being able to be a rim protector as we saw last night, still getting chased down blocks at the age of 37 years old. Absolutely crazy with his athleticism being not the greatest. And also just being able to stretch out and hit those threes. If Xavier Tillman can truly tap into that three-point shooting, we've seen it at practice. If he gets a little bit more comfortable in the game or feels a little bit comfortable with his shot, I truly think that that can be the piece that sets us over the top and we could just be chilling having a basically younger version of Al Horford. And he feels the same way too. We see this quote from Jay King saying, "Xavier Tillman, I'm playing with Al Horford. Having the IQ and skill level that he does and the experience and the wiseness will always allow me to be play free, and then he can kind of guide me in the best ways to help the team versus me have to overthink everything." And a lot of stuff too, like just the way we can go about stuff. I feel like Al can help me out a lot as far as we can when coaches drops the play and when he comes out with the defensive scheme. I'm like, Al, what did he say? Or Al, what are we doing here? So the fact that he's using Al Horford as this, veteran leader and veteran mentor, we've already seen Jayson Tatum have this great relationship, but seeing Xavier Tillman, a guy who, again, similar body type, similar play style, wanting to resemble a great veteran player in Al Horford, who's, had success as a star in Atlanta as well before he even came to Boston. This is fantastic because if Al Horford could even show him that untapped potential and get those intangibles instructed into Xavier Tillman, we could see a complete 180 on Xavier Tillman's offensive game from this offseason to next offseason. And with the Celtics having his bird rights and being able to keep him without having him to be any tax on this salary cap, especially how the Celtics are already in the second apron and we already see how we can't get certain guys on the buyout market. This was a huge steal by Brad Stevens. We want to keep diving in as well. This is just another icing on the cake. If you're a Celtics fan and you're seeing this just makes you smile ear to ear, especially myself, seeing that Al Horford's reposting Xavier Tillman's posts on the Boston Celtics. That just shows you that their relationship's already budding. It's already looking great. We've already seen the great quotes that we provided here and other videos that show you that they're already becoming best friends, and I truly think that it's going to translate from off the court to on the court really, really shortly once Xavier Tillman gets some more run. Like I mentioned, if we want to look at the box score, Xavier Tillman got his first real minutes, 15 minutes, 3 for 3 from the field, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 block, plus 13 with 6 total points. But you might be just looking at those stats and saying, yeah, that's basic, Bruce, but plus 13 on the offensive and defensive side of the ball shows you that he was playing both sides of the ball. And you could see there were multiple times where Xavier Tillman, in his first stint of minutes in the second quarter, he was open down low, looking for Jayson Tatum, asking for the ball. And there were plenty of times where Jayson Tatum, if he gave it to him a little second earlier, Xavier Tillman could have had an extra, 4 to 6 points on this night just by those just quick passes and easy reads. Therefore, you already know he's setting himself in the right position. He knows where to box out. He knows where to place himself. And having Al Horford being able to teach him those ways and help that as well makes me ensure that if Brad Stevens keeps Xavier Tillman as a steal, and we get to see Xavier Tillman grow over the next couple of games as well, with the Celtics having a great record, you have to wait into the late months of April and stuff. We're going to be resting guys like Porzingis, resting guys like Al Horford for the playoffs. So guys like Xavier Tillman, guys like Jaden Springer, guys like Kornet are going to get minutes, get more run, and we're going to figure out who's going to be the guys that are going to be used for these playoff rotations. And truly, I think a front court of having Luke Kornet going against some of those taller bigs, those bigs that where he's going to have to use that Kornet contest, that's totally fine. But some lineups where you're going to want to go a little bit smaller or be a little bit more aggressive with the defensive side, having Tillman and Horford running together, or you just even having Tillman on the floor just being himself, I truly think will do wonders and add some versatility to this big man rotation and ultimately aid the Boston Celtics in their quest for winning a championship. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below here. What are your guys' first thoughts and opinions on Xavier Tillman? Do you guys think he can transform into this Al Horford-esque type big man for the Boston Celtics? And if so, do you think the Celtics should keep him long term? Personally, with having his bird rights, regardless, even if he doesn't succeed, I still think the Celtics should sign him to an extension because you're not going to have these many options being a second apron team to keep a guy and still be able to go over the salary limit. And I truly think that that's the best option for the Celtics, keeping him. And even in a year or two, if he looks to blossom, or even in this offseason he looks to blossom, then he can truly be a piece for this future. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode here on Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.